much for being here to support us and our tremendous cast that we have this year. Yay! To help us tell the story of the new Harmony Valley. We have a very special place in case you haven't figured that out yet. And we're going to tell you all about it and how special it is. And we appreciate all the children that are going to help us, do that story. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today, we honor all of our pioneers, old and new, for their faith, patience, and perseverance. From the beginning of time, the new Harmony Valley was a very special place. Many years ago, early shallow seas covered the area and laid down massive amounts of sand. Once the sea dried, the sand blew into huge dunes and over time formed sandstone, now known as Navajo sandstone, the red rock that we now see in our beautiful Kolob canyons. Over time, volcanoes erupted and lava flowed over the sandstone and also formed the Pine Valley Mountains. The land continued to be shaped by water, wind, and even earthquakes. Right now, we are close to the Hurricane Fault over here at the bottom of the cliffs, right at the base of these foothills. People then came to the valley. First, ancestral Puebloans, or Anasazi, and Fremont. And then the valley became home to the southern Paiute Indians. Even now, around many of our homes here in the valley, we can find pottery shards and even rock flakes left by native peoples. In 1776, a small group of Spaniards left New Mexico to find a route to California. Dominguez and Escalante were the first Europeans to see the valley and passed along right here. Some Paiutes, suspicious of the newcomers, led the group away from Canaraville down to Ventura. The Spaniards crossed the mouth of Taylor Creek on October 13th, 1776, an interesting year for all of us, and continued their journey south. The next recorded trek near Kolob came 50 years later in 1826 as a mountain man, Jedediah Smith, retraced the Spanish Trail searching for beaver. Smith's party turned southwest to the base of the Pine Valley Mountains to cross the Black Ridge. The area remained uninhabited. The area remained inhabited by Native Americans until the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints arrived in Utah in 1847, and Brigham Young called members to settle many parts of the West. In 1849, Parley P. Pratt led an expedition into what is now Iron and Washington counties. In 1852, John D. Lee was called to help settle Parowan in Cedar City and later to establish a fort. In 1852, the Deseret News reported, "On the first water south of the rim of the Great Basin in Washington County, John D. Lee, Elisha Groves, and company are building a fort on Ash Creek called Harmony. The location of that first fort was just north of the current Ash Creek Reservoir, west of I-15, about at the end of Badger Way, where many of you live. Harmony became the first county seat when Washington County was created in 1852. The first recorded journey into Kolob Canyon was in 1854 by Mormon apostle Wilford Woodruff, an avid fisherman. He recorded his journal and that he went fishing in Battle Creek, now Taylor Creek, but caught no fish. 3 years after establishing Harmony at Ash Creek, Brigham Young asked them to move the fort because it would be flooded. John D. Lee responded and said, "Now I know this is home. The scenery about us is magnificent and inspiring. May the Lord help us build the new fort strong and well." Then the that old fort was washed away 5 years later. With the help of Parley P. Pratt and his survey equipment, a new site was selected to build Fort Harmony in the middle of the valley with water for more land. The walls of Fort Harmony were 300 feet square. The houses on the west side were 2 stories high and 1 story high on the other 3 sides. By February 1885, all of the inhabitants were living at the new site, Fort Harmony. That site is near the present library on New Harmony Road. Once a route was found to get down the Black Ridge, wagon trains would come through Fort Harmony. Groups headed to Washington and St. George to establish the Cotton Mission. Young couples from northern Utah were called to settle other areas and came through on the honeymoon trail. But the time came to move on again. Due to a month of heavy rains in the winter of 1862, Harmony Fort was evacuated. Wagons dragging in the mud carried most of the people and belongings 4 miles west to New Harmony and also northeast to Canaryville. Everyone left except for one of John D. Lee's wives, Sarah Caroline, and some of her children. Sarah wanted to finish weaving some cloth that she had in the loom. The rain on the adobe walls caused the walls to fall, killing 2 of Lee's children. These children are buried on the Lee farm in the southwestern part of New Harmony. That property and cemetery are now owned by the Pace family. John D. Lee was later condemned for participating in the tragic attack on Mountain Meadows. Even with tragedy in the valley, some believe the name New Harmony came from Harmony, Pennsylvania, where the Mormon prophet Joseph Smith translated the Book of Mormon. The local settlers also liked the name because it suggested harmony and united actions of the pioneers. The word Kolob comes from the Mormon scripture and means nigh unto the gods. Settlers look upon these majestic sandstone cliffs must have thought that they were near to God. A weekly mail route from Cedar City to Santa Clara by way of New Harmony, Tokerville, Washington, and St. George was opened in 1862. The first schoolhouse was log, built in 1863. Later, other school buildings were built. The school burned in 1957. Since that time, New Harmony students have been bused to Cedar City for school. Around 1900, the Samuel Pollock family lived in a house at the mouth of Taylor Creek. The cement foundation for the home was visible for many years on the east side of I-15 where the freeway crosses Taylor Creek. In the 1930s, the Kolob Canyon Cliffs and Taylor Creek attracted 3 homesteaders from Cedar City. Those cabins can still be seen by hikers on the Taylor Creek Trail. Kolob Canyons then became part of Zion National Park. As more people moved to the valley, the Kolob Canyon Ward was formed after the New Harmony Ward became too large. Today, we are grateful for the beautiful landscapes and red rocks that we have the privilege to live so close to. We honor and pay tribute to all those indigenous peoples, explorers, pioneers, and settlers for their courage and resourcefulness, for their faith, patience, and persistence in making the New Harmony Valley and the Kolob Canyon area a wonderful place for us to live. Many of us today are here today are pioneers in our own way, making way for our families and loved ones to follow behind. Today we honor all our pioneers, old and new. Thank you for coming and enjoying our story today. I think these guys deserve an Oscar, right? Especially since they got to practice about 5 minutes ago, so that was amazing. Anyway, we thank you again for enjoying this with us. We just thought it'd be fun to reenact our amazing history that we have locally. And we did want to mention, I think there's still food left over here, and of course you saw the beautiful display of fruit and all that kind of thing. But we also have games now and activities that are going to be happening down on the other end over by the playground area. So, and I heard a rumor that there might be water if anybody's interested. So thanks again.